There is a song stuck in your head right now. Not the whole song, just a fragment. A few bars that loop and repeat and refuse to resolve. You have tried to shake it. You have hummed it to the end. You have thought about something else entirely, and still it comes back. That fragment is not a glitch. It is one of the most revealing things your brain does. And the reason it happens goes back much further than music. Your brain is not built to finish things. It is built to track them. This is a distinction that sounds small but changes everything. Most people assume the mind is a completion machine, something that works through problems until they are solved and then moves on. But that is not how it works. The human brain is, at its core, a surveillance system. Its primary job is not resolution. Its primary job is to monitor everything that remains unresolved. In 1927, a Russian psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik was sitting in a Vienna cafe when she noticed something that would become one of the most cited findings in cognitive science. The waiters in that cafe were extraordinary. They could hold enormous orders in their heads without writing anything down, juggling tables and drinks and modifications across an entire busy restaurant. But the moment an order was paid and completed, it vanished from their memory entirely. A waiter who could recite your entire meal from memory minutes ago could not remember a single item the moment the bill was settled. Zygarnik went back to her lab and tested this systematically. She gave subjects a series of tasks and interrupted half of them before they could finish. Later, when she asked subjects to recall what they had worked on, the interrupted tasks were remembered nearly twice as well as the completed ones. The incomplete tasks had burrowed deeper into memory. They had refused to let go. This became known as the Zygarnik effect, and it is running inside you right now. But why? Why would a brain evolve to grip unfinished things more tightly than finished ones? The answer is survival. Your ancestors did not live in a world of resolved problems. They lived in a world of ongoing threats, unresolved hunts, uncertain weather, and relationships that required constant monitoring. A brain that forgot about unfinished business was a brain that got eaten. The individuals whose minds kept a persistent, nagging record of everything incomplete were the ones who came back to finish it, who checked the trap again, who remembered the storm that had not passed yet, who kept the wound from festering by not forgetting it existed. You inherited that brain, and the modern world has handed it an impossible problem. Psychologist Roy Baumeister at Florida State University spent decades studying what he calls the task interruption effect. His research found something counterintuitive. The brain does not need to actually complete a task in order to stop obsessing over it. It needs a plan, a concrete, specific intention to return to the task at a defined future point is often enough to quiet the mental alarm. Not finishing, not resolving, just planning. This means that the anxiety you feel around unfinished work is not caused by the incompleteness itself. It is caused by the absence of a committed next step. Your brain is not demanding resolution. It is demanding certainty that resolution will come. And the moment you give it that certainty, it releases its grip. Temporarily. Temporarily, because the system never fully switches off. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio has spent his career studying how the brain manages emotion and decision-making, and one of his central findings is that the brain maintains what he calls a body budget, a running account of all the resources and threats and pending obligations that require monitoring. Unfinished tasks are liabilities on that budget. They draw cognitive resources continuously. Even when you are not consciously thinking about them, some part of your brain is still holding them open, still watching, still waiting for the resolution signal that has not come. This is why you cannot fully relax when something important is unfinished. It is not a personality trait. It is not a character flaw. It is the somatic cost of open loops. Your nervous system is not designed to close the monitoring process until the task is done or a credible plan exists to do it. Until then, the alarm stays on. And here is where it gets genuinely strange. Your brain does not just track unfinished tasks. It manufactures them. Think about the last story you watched and could not stop thinking about. The cliffhanger that made you watch one more episode at midnight. The novel that kept you reading past the point where your eyes were burning. The conversation that ended without resolution and replayed itself in your memory for days. These are not accidents of storytelling. They are deliberate triggers for the Zeigarnik mechanism, engineered to create open loops inside your mind that your brain then insists on closing. Every streaming platform in the world has studied this phenomenon. Every social media feed is designed around it. The infinite scroll is an infinite series of incomplete visual statements. Each image or post creates a micro-expectation that is partially satisfied and then immediately replaced by another. Your brain is never allowed to close. It is kept permanently in a state of unresolved anticipation, never finishing, never releasing, never reaching the resolution signal that would allow it to rest. Researcher Clifford Nass at Stanford University spent years studying how media multitasking was changing the human attention system. His findings were alarming. Heavy media multitaskers, people constantly switching between streams of partial information, showed impaired ability to filter irrelevant information, impaired working memory, and impaired ability to switch tasks effectively. The brains most exposed to artificial open loops were becoming less capable of managing the natural ones. The very system that was supposed to track unfinished business was becoming overwhelmed by artificial versions of it. You are not distracted, you are hunted. By a mechanism that evolved to help you survive and has been repurposed to keep you watching. But there is another side to this. One that is genuinely useful if you understand it. The same obsessive grip that the brain applies to unwanted open loops also applies to wanted ones. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi found that the mental state humans describe as most meaningful and alive, the state he called flow, shares a structural feature with unfinished tasks. In flow, the challenge is always slightly ahead of the current skill level. The task is never fully resolved. The brain is always reaching slightly beyond what it has completed. The incompleteness is not a source of anxiety. It is the source of engagement. The Zeigarnik mechanism, the same one that keeps the song in your head and the incomplete email in your peripheral awareness, is also the engine of creative obsession. Of the scientist who cannot stop thinking about the experiment, of the writer who dreams about the chapter, of the musician who wakes up with the unfinished melody already playing. The unfinished thing is not a burden when you have chosen it. It is the structure of curiosity itself. Your brain is not broken. It is not anxious for no reason. It is doing something very old and very precise. It is holding the thread of every unresolved thing in your life, waiting for the signal that it is safe to let go. The problem is not the mechanism. The problem is the volume. The sheer number of artificial open loops that modern life pours into a system built for a world where there were far fewer things to track. The waiter in Blumud Zeigarnik's Vienna cafe forgot the order the moment it was paid. His brain released the information the moment the loop was closed. Yours is trying to do the same thing. The same ancient system. The same ancient need for resolution. The same signal it has been waiting for since long before the cafe existed. Long before the city. Long before the song that is still, even now, playing somewhere in the back of your mind. You never finished that song, and your brain has not forgotten.